Okay guys, so we've got this, a couple days has passed, we've got it on the Superflow dyno cart and we're getting ready to put it on our dyno. Clearly there's a lot of stuff that we kind of cut out of the video because there's a lot of work involved in here, but we're getting close to putting this on the dyno. Still didn't get the stand head off of it, and you can see I didn't put the cam plug in the back yet, so we got to do that. We got to put our, this is for our oil pressure, we got to stab our distributor, get some valve covers and so forth on it, but she's getting close. I did get I went ahead and ordered a new quick fuel 750 CFM carb. I think I talked about that earlier, just because we don't want to have any trouble. And we put a spacer on this. We may run nitrous on this. If so, we'll add a nitrous spacer here, but we're going to run it NA first and see what we can do over stock, and I think the numbers will be impressive. So we're getting closer. I'm going to turn the camera off and finish buttoning this up, and then we'll get this on the dyno and see what we can do. Make some noise and make some power. Okay guys, so there's a lot of little logistical things that we have to do to get this thing buttoned up. I don't really want to bore you with doing that all on camera, but we've got our motor mounted to the dyno. We need to put on our water pump. I've got the starter on and a lot of logistical things, but I did put the oil in, so we've got our 7 coats of oil. I want to talk to you about priming the oil pump here before we start. We want to put a drill down the distributor hole and prime this thing and make sure we got oil up to the top here. This is our priming tool, and the end of it is just like the distributor. And we're just going to stick that down in the distributor hole, and we're going to spin that oil pump. Now you want to make sure you have a pressure gauge or this gauge blocked off, otherwise you're going to get a face full of oil here. We got to put a gauge on here. All right, so you can see we've got a gauge plumbed into, this just goes into where your sending unit line would normally come off of the dyno or the engine. And now we're going to spin that pump and make sure that we've got oil pressure here, and we also want to get oil up to the top here. Make sure we got oil in all those lifters and up to the top. All right, here we go. And there you see we've got our pressure. Now we want to watch our rockers here. So you can probably see we got oil starting to pop up here. And also it's a good idea to go ahead and rotate the engine a few times during this process. All right, so as you can see here, we've got oil up to the top to every one of these rockers. We spun the pump for about 2 minutes and we had 60 pounds of oil pressure. So we're feeling pretty confident that this engine is primed and ready to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and button all the rest of this up, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna make some horsepower, hopefully. Put it on 30. Why is
Be gentler with her.
Why is it doing that?
That was towards 5,000.
Sounds about
What
right.
was it before?
8.
It was.
Oh no.
It was
No.
It was at 14. Today, the
It better not be 8. That's
Yeah,
No, it was
that's
yesterday.
super.
It was like 9 yesterday.
oh, look at
Yesterday was
that.
bad.
So
So
leaned,
lost a little.
leaned it out and it didn't like it.
That could be power valve or the accelerator pump. I think the accelerator pump is huge in this thing. So as you
Well, that's-
double in, it just
That's that quick fuel carburetor, right?
right.
Yeah, that's right out of the box we put that on. And they're usually fat out of the box.
It was very
But it's better to be fat than,
Lean.
yeah, you
Right
get,
there's right on the edge for lean. So that's
literally can't.
13.
what was it, 13?
Yeah, 13's
Rather be.
Yeah.
12, 8, 13.
It should run good
That
there.
makes
Should have
sense.
made power, shouldn't have lost power.
Beast than anorexic.
Alright.
Live loaders.
This other tin doesn't want to break loose.
So you guys are doing a jet change, you going bigger or smaller?
I think it was bigger. We went from 82 to an 80.
Okay.
So it was way too rich, so we're going to change the jets and go to a smaller jet.
Kind of.
Well, we had one that was 404. No, that wasn't it. That's too far. No, yesterday we had one that was 404.
Well, 401, 404, I mean, if it's making 400,
Yeah, it was.
400 is that's a threshold. 400 is a lot more intriguing than 392. Once you hit the 400 mark, that's an accomplishment as far as I'm concerned.
I'll have to find that. We haven't messed with timing. We haven't. We've just.
What's the timing set at?
It's basic. It's like 12:28 or something like that. It's nothing.
Okay, guys, so there you have it. We ended up with 412 horsepower and 432 foot-pounds of torque, which is a big improvement. I threw, you saw a bunch of the dyno stuff that we did. Some of that video that you just saw is kind of patchy, but basically what we did is we put it on the dyno to begin with, and we had a carburetor issue. The first carburetor that we had was a new 750 CFM out of the box, but it had issues. I'm not sure why. We tried rejetting it. We just couldn't get it to work right. We only made about 390 horsepower with that carb, and it just didn't run right. So we took another 750 CFM Holley double pumper that we had sitting around that was a known good carburetor. We put that on and it was way too fat. So we made like 395. We leaned it out. We got it up to 399, and we were like, you know, I really wanted to have that 400 horsepower mark. I just, for some reason, I know it doesn't matter that much, but I want to hit that. So then we started playing with timing, and the thing that really helped is we've got a Victor Jr. single plane on this thing, and we put a 1-inch carb spacer on it, and with the 1-inch carb spacer, we barely cracked 400, and we thought, wow, that was an improvement. So then we went with a 2-inch spacer, and with a 2-inch spacer and a couple more degrees of timing, and about 12-to-1 air-fuel ratio at WOT, wide open throttle, we were able to make 412 horsepower and 432 foot-pounds of torque. So you can see that torque line pretty much goes all the way across. We ended up with 432 torque. And right here at 52 where they meet, the torque is starting to diminish here around 45, but our horsepower is coming up really good. Our horsepower carried all the way over up to about 6,000. It just starts to dip right there, but you know, we're real happy with that. So this is going from 250 horsepower with real low. The torque was in the less than 300 on this thing, and yeah, pretty impressive. Worked out really good. Very happy with this. This is an upgrade that you can do. And you know, we really didn't pay all that much for it. These Edelbrock heads, brand new, I think are like 800 bucks a piece, and they're actually not the best head you can buy. AFRs or you know, some of the other ones are a little better even, but they're reasonably priced. And then the roller cam, you could, if you're on a budget, you could actually go with a flat tappet cam that would do pretty well too. You could probably get over 400 with that. So we put the roller in because we had it. You know, it's an ESP 292 mega cam. So yeah, I mean, that's all there is to it. So I just want to encourage you guys, anybody can do this mod. Now I know that we went through the whole engine and we re-ringed it and all that, but if you got a solid short block, you don't need to do all that. All you really need to do is change the heads cam intake, right? And boom, you're there. As long as your short block is solid. So I appreciate you watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will talk to you very soon, I promise.